Florida's Women in Energy Leadership Forum was launched to inform, inspire, motivate diverse talent to join the energy workforce by intentional recognition of current female energy leaders who contribute to growing Florida's economy and the purposeful sharing of their professional journeys. We are creating opportunity. Join me each week as we meet new leaders in energy and listen to their important roles in an industry that is vital to the country's future. Speaking of intentional recognition, good morning, Christy. Good morning, Christy Cheatham-Pettit with Clearwater Gas. How are you, Rockstar?
Rockstar, I am doing great. Thanks, Lila. I'm doing great. I couldn't do better. I need to lose a couple LBs, but
yeah, don't we all? I love the pink frame.
Thank you. It's my office, our new offices.
Keeping it real, keeping it real. So, Christy, Business Development Manager, Marketing Manager, Clearwater Gas. Big title.
I'm a big girl, so it's gotta be
Let me tell you, I got so many comments and feedback about having you on this channel and podcast. People are really excited to hear from you, and you just have a phenomenal presence. I've been saying that about you all week. Just I've never met anyone that says anything negative about you. You are just a sincere presence when you walk into the room, and you know your stuff.
You are so kind. You just made my day. And if my parents are watching this, they're going to be
Your mom told me to say it. That's right. That's right.
I appreciate that. I'm a very blessed person, and I'm grateful. So thank you, Lila, for saying that.
So talk about what you do for Clearwater Gas.
I have a great job. First of all, I have a great team, and I am very fortunate to work for a person who I respect and consider a mentor, Chuck Warrington, and Brian Langeel's our assistant director. And they're not on this, so I'm not kissing up to them, but they let me be me, and that's hard to do sometimes. But we have a sales manager, public information officer, and we have an inside sales rep, 3 reps that are doing residential and commercial, and then we have a new construction rep. So we have a really solid team here. We're the fastest growing municipally owned system in the state at 7.5%, and we're really proud. We're also a full service energy company, Lila. So that's a big deal around the state because so many companies got away from service and repair, appliance sales, installation, and we continue to do that as well as sell LP and all of our maintenance. So, but what I do, I defer. That was my company. I negotiate our franchise agreements. I am they ladies make fun. I'm the face of Clearwater Gas. I work with the developers and builders on our developer agreements. And I am actively involved in the community. I sit on several boards, including Habitat for Humanity of West Pasco and Pinellas counties, various chamber boards, Pasco Economic Development Council, and I could name others, but that's what it is getting out and finding out what projects are going on and how we can include gas in those. And a lot of it too is knowing all the elected officials in the cities we serve. And we serve 20 cities in 2 counties and in unincorporated Pinellas and Pasco County. So I stay pretty busy.
Yes, you are. I just listening to you, I want to do this.
But I get to golf. And sometimes I have to host our suite. So a lot of people think, she's getting paid to go get fed and watch baseball and play golf.
And be on Clearwater Beach, right? Yeah.
And be on Clearwater Beach. Yeah.
No, not at all. So, Christy, you know what I heard you say in all of that was relationships.
It really
and great communication skills. So let's just kind of dive into that part of inform and inspire. You have to know how to communicate with people.
Correct.
As part of your job. Where does that come from for you? What inspires you to really enjoy and get to know people?
I always like to say I don't know a stranger, and I always like to treat people like I want to treat the janitor who mops the floor. I'm going to speak to him just like I would if John Brabson from People's Gas, I passed him at Publix. And it's about getting to know people. And I have to credit my parents with that, very humble people. They're both utility workers. We're in the utility industry, and just always treat people kind. and be genuine.
Mhm.
Don't ask. I don't have children on purpose, but I have dogs, and everyone around here knows it. So the relationship is, hey, how's your grandson doing? How was his first day of school? And it's asking about people and connecting with them. I always like to tell people that Chuck doesn't pay, the city of Clearwater doesn't pay me to sell gas. It sells me for the relationships I have
Mhm.
that end up selling that gas. So it's really important.
And at the end of the day, that's building trust,
Mhm.
not just in you and in them, but in the organization that you represent.
Absolutely.
You, like me, we talk about our fathers a lot as the people that inspired us. I know, if you cry, I cry. It's okay,
Okay.
right? It's okay, but it also keeps it real.
Right.
But um, we are inspired by members in our family. It's a unique experience for you, in that it's almost a family business, right?
Yeah.
Can you talk to our viewers about how you started in the utility industry and what inspired you?
Sure, that's easy. I do have some Kleenex, so I might lose it. But if I joke, it's my way of getting through it. So I will tell y'all, and I think most of you know that my grandfather, he was the right of way guy. Woo! He was the right of way guy for Florida Gas Transmission, which was the first transmission company here in the 50s. He relocated my mom and the family to Eustis. My mom and dad met and my dad's from Eustis. My mom and dad met in high school, still married 51 years later. Whew. And dad came home from Vietnam and they had me. Whew. And then my first day of kindergarten was my dad's first day at People's Gas there in Eustis. So,
People's Gas, just to give you some um, time to breathe. And this is what I love about you, Christy. This is, you have a big job, but you bring everything you are to that job. You are so real and so humble. Just to give you a little bit of a break, People's Gas became Tico, right? And then now People's Gas again. That's where you started as an intern.
correct. Well,
Served you well, didn't it?
it really did. So, my dad, I used to go on call outs with him as a little girl back when it was safe and nobody got in trouble. I could jump in the bobtail with him. I remember on Christmases, we'd finish opening presents and my dad would be on call and I would go out with him to the Apopka burneries that didn't have natural gas then, and he'd load them back up. He taught me a lot about the industry. It was kind of a fluke that I started. I played basketball at USF and you can't have a job while you're playing. So my
Right.
dad said, "Well, Christy, the corporate office is down there. You should apply." So I applied. I was 19 years old. I worked there for 3 summers. The first summer I worked with Aleda Sakaris, who
Yes.
everyone knows,
Yes.
and she was a training instructor down in Miami, and I worked for training. And then the next 2 summers, I worked for John Hamilton and Joyce Wellman in the corporate communications department. And then I graduated from college, and they created a job for me in Corp Com. And then I worked there until I left to come to Clearwater Gas. But it's great because if I'm having a bad day or if something
Mhm.
happens, I can, whew, I can call my dad
Yep.
and he can, talk me
Yeah.
down.
Put
And
it
we've
in
always,
perspective, right? So, as you know, Christy, the whole reason I started Florida's Women in Energy Leadership Forum was through the power of personal stories. We can inform one another and hopefully inspire the next generation to join an industry, which I think is a very sustainable, high wage job industry, and one of those industries that promotes diversity, right, and equity. And just to reinforce that we're doing the right thing, you're getting some feedback here from our viewers. My friend Anna said, "What a beautiful story. Thank you for sharing, Christy." And second viewer, "I'm so proud of you, Christy. Love you."
sister,
Kelly Powers, yeah.
it's my
So
sister.
we do have our first question from the viewers, Christy. Their comment is, back when you first joined the industry, it had to be extremely male dominated. Do you have funny experiences and general experiences from those days that stay with you today?
I got hit on by a developer who told me he wouldn't sign the agreement if I didn't sleep with him. Needless
Oh
to
my
say,
gosh.
it went all away.
Real stuff. Yeah. Yeah. Real stuff. So what year, put it in perspective for us. When is this?
I was in my 20s.
Yeah.
And I was a lot thinner. No, it was just you get put in those positions, and I think all of us could. I know every woman that I know in this industry could give a story about it, but I think it's also in how you carry yourself. And I don't want to be known as I slept my way to the top, or I slept my way to be the number one salesperson at the time. And I grew up with a lot of confidence, and I thank my mom for that. My dad too, but my mom told me at like 6, "You're going to be tall. You're going to be a big deal." And, if it weren't for her, I would have walked around, shoulders shrugged. And, I'm almost 6'2". I just turned 49 last week. I've been in the full-time energy business since I was 24 years old. So this is like the only real industry I have. And there's a passion for it. We all have a
Absolutely.
passion for it.
Absolutely. But you've also been in an industry where you've seen a lot of changes in the natural gas industry, and we are seeing a lot of diversity. I mean, when you and I first started talking about this, it was 2015. And as I think about what the Florida energy footprint looked in terms of people at that time, it wasn't as diverse as it is today in 2020. So you've been witness to a lot of changes, and I don't think you're the only woman in the room these days, right?
No, absolutely not.
When you and I first started in the industry, we were. It wasn't uncommon to be the only woman in the room, and certainly for me, the only woman of color in some rooms. But I do think we've made some progress, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's nice to go to these conferences now and see these, and I say younger women, but even older women and women of my age, but just the mix of people in the room and what they have to offer and their perspective as well. I think you can get that from any age group, but it's nice to see that our industry has changed and they have brought in people who know their stuff, and they just happen to be, of diversity.
Right. Thank you, Barry. Barry Kennedy, our mutual friend, says Christy is real. Go, Christy. That's right. You are. Keep it real. He's wonderful.
Yeah, he and his wife, Judy, I both worked with over in Orlando.
Absolutely amazing. He's now with Florida Public Utilities, a company that has a special place in my heart, right?
Right.
Christy, we've got a second question on the benefits of natural gas. Why natural gas?
So I bet you 89.9 women, and I'll give the 10%, can regurgitate this in their sleep. We all know it's reliable. I think Chuck's reliability number that we use is 99.99%. And during Hurricane Irma, Clearwater Gas lost 0 customers, which is a big deal to us, especially with poor Duke being hit and left and right around our area. But, the reliability, the affordability, and the big thing that I think nowadays everybody should be so proud of is the domestic domestication of it. There's so much gas here now. Chuck used to tell me this stat that we produce more natural gas than Saudi Arabia produces oil, barrels of oil. That's a big deal. We couldn't have said that 15, 20 years ago. So I think that's a big deal. And I just think people like the fact that it is environmentally friendly. Yes, we're a fossil fuel. And I hope no one steals this. And since it's live and on tape, this is my way of trademarking it. My husband came up with the best word I've ever heard. He calls it fossilosophy. And it's the discussion of natural gas and its benefits and its impact in our economy. And my husband is a commercial insurance agent. He can now, since we've been together so long, when we walk by buildings on vacation, he's like, "Oh, look, they've got gas. There's a meter right there." So we've all trained these people in our lives.
Right, it's true.
But I love that word, and he'll be surprised that I even used it today. But it really is, and like I said before, the passion that people have about gas and improving their life and saving money, that's a big deal. Get past the fact that we're a fossil fuel. We're a very low emission one. So like I said, I could go to sleep at night and spit off the verbs that are and the words that we use, but it really is awesome.
That's great. Here's another Great question. And your role at the fourth largest municipal gas system in Florida, what would you say is the biggest challenge in marketing and communication during this pandemic?
Um,
Great question, right?
yeah,
In light of COVID, what are the challenges in
it's,
communicating with your customers
you
and
know,
stakeholders?
it's obviously, like everyone else, the Zoom meeting has created this wideness of my lower body because all I do is sit and I'm on Zoom and I'm on Teams and I'm on Boohoo and Foohoo and whatever you want to call it. And I'm just like, oh my gosh. But communicating like that, so we haven't missed a beat. And then our sales reps are in full CDC. And if they're in a house with somebody, the person will ask the social distance or they'll automatically do it. Our service and repair techs are the same way.
Mhm.
But as far as the face to face, which is so much part of my job that I love, that's been more face to face on the computer. So it has been a challenge, but I have to say that, as a department of the city of Clearwater, we are following the CDC guidelines. We are handling all the COVID and all the testing seriously. And everybody just wants to get back to normal, but we all know we have to do it safe now in order to get there
Mhm.
later.
Coming back to what you said about the business portfolio of Clearwater Gas, you are one of the few utilities that continues to sell and maintain the appliances. Has that become a sweet spot for you? Is that a business part of your portfolio that is successful and you see continuing on, Christy?
I see it continuing on as long as Chuck wants it to continue on. Chuck is
Hello,
a big
Chuck.
I don't know if I even told him about this today. He's going to be mad at me, but he can watch it later.
Yeah.
The there's When I worked for People's Gas, when they split everything off, they just went to be the utility company, and obviously they lost employees, but you want to be able to know that where you bought your water heater from is where you can call to get the water heater
Mhm.
fixed. And we have a little niche. Do we make as much profit in those other areas? Not as much. But the fact that we're a one-stop shop and we're owned by the city, it is kind of a big deal.
Mhm. So, your younger self,
Ooh,
yeah. If you could go back and talk to that 21-year-old, that 22-year-old, what advice would you give her today, Christy?
don't marry the first guy that asked you. That didn't end well.
Keeping it real.
But I would say I don't know if I would have. I got my degree, so that's
Mhm.
not a big deal. But I think I would have, and I still don't do this to this day. I would have. My husband's grandfather told him, "Brad, you have two ears and one mouth for a reason. You need to listen twice as much as you talk." And I think I would have probably spent more time in the field. But if you would have told me at 14 or 21 that at 49 years old I would still be working in this industry, I would have been surprised.
Mhm.
But I'm very proud of, where I'm at.
Yeah, but today, when you all bring on a new person to the organization, where do you start them? Is there some sort of method behind the madness of teaching them the organization?
Um, for sales oriented or
Mhm.
just period?
I'd say sales for what you do in particular, and then we can talk about your engineers and other folks.
Yeah. I would say, well, we had the same salespeople for the
Mhm.
first 15 years I was here. We had some good, and we still have a couple of the guys and lady here. But when they come in, it's not like there was a set policy and procedure plan to follow. It was
Mhm.
kind of, pardon me, it was kind of like jump in my truck, go on a call with me. This is how it's done.
Right.
And, once again, because the city owns us, it's not, hey, I'm just going to hire this person in. It's a set interview and set questions, and I can't get off the map with the
Right.
questions. But when we bring them in, recently in the last 3 years, we hired our installation supervisor to be one of our residential reps. He's done an outstanding job. So he didn't need much except guidance on the paperwork process.
Mhm.
Then we had another gentleman that was internal here who also joined the team, and he had some distribution background and some other background here in the company that helped him. Again, he just needed to learn the process. And then when we promoted Jim McCulley as our sales manager. We hired his replacement in new construction. She was a whiz in LP, worked for several LP companies, but she needed to learn our process.
Mhm.
So it's more of a culture of we want you to succeed because we want to succeed as a
Right.
team. Yeah.
Right. And anyone on not in the business section, not in sales or marketing, your other careered employees at Clearwater Gas, are there particular degrees you look for? So if you've got a student here listening to our conversation, is one, curriculum or career better than the other in terms of getting hired by Clearwater Gas?
If we work with PTech, which is the technical college here, and and I'm sure I'm speaking for a lot of people, it's hard to find people to plumb homes.
Mhm.
And there's no shame in that. And
Mhm.
there's a lot of money in it. And I think that we kind of just think you got to have a civil engineer degree and all that. But we do consider, if you're an engineer and you come here, you might not be getting the pay you would get you're at a private company, but you're still going to come in here with a better shot because you have a degree in that field.
That's right.
So, with the energy being so positive and popular, the financial business is going to be it. Geoscience. My stepson has a sustainability degree, so all those types of things help. But it's my dad started as a meter reader. He
Right.
was service and repair. He did leak survey in Miami during the 70s and 80s. I
Right.
mean, he ended up on a bobtail and spent most of his career pulling pipe as a distribution guy. So,
Right. You said something I want to touch on as well, Christy. I think we all, many of us graduate from school thinking we have to go look for that large organization, private company, and start our careers. There are so many meaningful. I don't know that you know this about me, Christy. I worked at the city of Sanford.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, when I was in college, I started for free. I actually took a job, told them not to pay me. The city of Sanford, it was a part-time receptionist position. I just needed the experience, and I was going to Stetson. You notice the green, Stetson green, right?
Yeah.
I was going to college, and I went to the city of Sanford, and I said, just hire me. I don't want you to pay me. Let me intern, do whatever. I'll answer phones. I did that for just 4 months until they had something come open, and they extended me an offer. And I think someplace along the way in 2020, we've lost sight of that sometimes you just got to get your foot in the door. And at the cities or at a state government, the benefits are great, the opportunities and the experiences are great. So I think that's our way, me and you, of endorsing government as a career as well,
Yes.
right?
There's several people that have moved their way up the ladder by coming in as a customer service rep, not
Mhm.
making a lot. We have some apprentice positions open in our propane and our installation department, and that's it. It's getting your foot in so you can get the benefits. And I know that
Mhm.
that's changed a lot. And just for the record, I'm not in the pension because I got hired in as management. So I always like to tell people my 20 years with the city doesn't guarantee me a
Your
pension.
pension,
I'm the
right.
401k girl. So, and that's fine. I'm fine with it. But
Not
you're
that
right.
there's anything wrong with that.
Not that there's anything wrong with it at all, but you're right. There's people here who are trying to just get their spouses in
Mhm.
entry level so they can get a couple years under their belt and move up. And I think that's a very fortunate and blessed. That's one thing. You can't come out of college and say, okay, where's my $80,000 a year job? I'm ready. I'm here. I'm ready. It doesn't work like that. Now, my stepson, he was fortunate enough to get a job with GE out of New York, and he's got a great job, and he's making more than me. That's a fluke, but don't be too proud to start somewhere and learn. And you worked for free. Whoo, girl.
I
I don't
did.
know many people who do it for free
I
nowadays
did.
coming
I
out of
did.
college.
Many, many years ago, a lot of debt, but I had to get my foot in the door. I mean,
And you did.
and I did. I did. So we were teasing about Chuck, as you know, he's one of my favorite people, Chuck Warrington, Clearwater Gas. You report to him. He would correct us, right? Because he's on your team, is what he would say. But I have to give Chuck a lot of credit. When I first called him many years ago and said, "Would you consider sponsoring this? My new idea, the Florida's Women in Energy Leadership Forum." Before I could even tell him what it was, he said, yes, count us in. Happy to do it. You are one of the inaugural sponsors. You continue to sponsor every year. Our next forum is November 11th through the 13th. As you know, we're going virtual because of COVID, but you are a sponsor again. Why are those initiatives? And I know that you're involved with many, many things in the community and in your local area. Why are those things so important to you and to Clearwater Gas?
It's an effort. It is a thoughtful effort. And yes, like I said, Chuck is amazing to be an engineer and have a marketing sense the way he does. The reason Clearwater Gas is the fourth largest in the state is because of Chuck Warrington. And I'm not saying that because he's my boss. And I know he's not on this call or he would already typed in. So I give him a lot of credit. Chuck's a very good man and he's done a lot, but he shares my sense of you've got to be involved. We've got to get out there. People have got to go, you know what? I think I'm going to remodel my house. Oh yeah, Christy was on the Achievers Committee with me. I'm going to call her. You know what? We're going to build a new project. Hey, let's call Christy and see if Clearwater Gas is close enough to service. So it's being involved, but it's also wanting to be a part of it. Like this forum, I mean, Lila, I remember the first one I went, I was like, this is great. It's not going to get better. And then Representative Peters, she's a friend of mine, and she was the chair of the utilities. She showed up the 1 year. And then this past year at the Vinoy, I don't know how you're going to top that one. You had the president of Duke Energy Florida, a female speak. You had the president of Amera Energy, basically People's Gas. She came and spoke. It was just unbelievable that all these, and I say powerful women, but influencers and mentors to so many of us going, how did you get there? Is this a good step? What would you do if you were 21 again? Stuff like that. But it's important for us to be a part of it. You can't be in this industry and sit back and not have a take into it. You know, I'm sometimes scared to share my opinion.
No, I don't think you. She's kidding, just in case anyone, this will turn into a podcast. So just to be clear for the podcast, no, she's not scared.
But I think that you have to ask those questions. And of course, like you said, and I say this humbly, and I appreciate it. I have a presence. I'm tall and I'm loud, but I'm very friendly and I want to learn, and I want other people to feel like I'm approachable and they can ask questions and stuff. So yeah, I would say that it's just being a part of the community and being the first thing people think of. I mean, I even have people that live down in Tico's territory, and I live in People's Gas's territory, and they'll call me and go, I know you can't serve gas, but Christy, I need you to call People's Gas. I need this line relocated. We're building a 15-unit condo in Madeira Beach, and I can't get anyone to respond. So it's all helping each other.
Absolutely. What you are, my friend, is an inspiration. You are an absolute inspiration. Thank you for this, Christy. Thank you for your unwavering support. Thank you for being a mentor and a champion of so many. And I know that your legacy, your family's legacy, will continue on in everything that you do. I appreciate you and I appreciate your friendship.
Thank you, Lila. You as well. Thank you for always smiling. I like meeting your daughter.
Yeah, she's all right. She's actually here. If we're really loud, she'll come and say hello. Thank you. Thanks for being with us today.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.